Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? My name is Brandon. Welcome to my channel, Scourge of Vinyl. And this has been a long time coming. This is going to be the first installment in my Cannibal Corpse collection videos. This is something that some people out there have been clamoring for ever since I brought up the possibility of doing it, and here it is. This video is going to be for just the Chris Barnes era. It's the only 4 full-length albums, but it's the era that I own the most records and material from. It happens to be my personal favorite era of Cannibal Corpse. I made a video a while ago, a couple of years ago, in fact, on my preference when it comes to the 2 Cannibal Corpse vocalists, Chris Barnes and Corpse Grinder. I'll leave a link in the description of this video where you can watch that. I'm still pretty happy with the way that video turned out, even though it was a few years ago and I was still getting into the hang of making these videos. But without any further talking, let's start with the very beginning, and that would be Eaten Back to Life. Forgive me if I don't know the exact pressing information for every single one of these records. I have a lot. I tried to brush up a little bit, so if I don't know the exact year, the exact pressing information, or if I mess something up, forgive me. But this here is an original Metal Blade Records pressing from 1990. As you can see, the original Cannibal Corpse logo, which is far superior to the new one. The parental warning here. This copy that I have is in pretty great condition, considering it's over 30 years old now, or getting close to 30 years old, excuse me. Still has the inner sleeve with the lyrics printed on it, and the record itself is in flawless condition, really. The original records that I have, I tend to not play. They're really more of collector's items for me. And one thing that I did when I first started collecting records, and I really started to focus on collecting Cannibal Corpse records, was I really wanted to focus on getting everything I could from this era of Cannibal Corpse. So all the original releases for every format. And I don't have the original CD, although I do have this reissue from 1993, I believe. This is a Metal Blade and Death Records pressing. I keep this one in a plastic case just because it's an older CD, and I got it in pristine condition. There you see the disc. Also, please don't ask me in the comments where I got all of this stuff, how much I paid for it. Really, that's none of your concern. This is my collection. I take great pride in it, but also I'm not going to get too hung up on the details of, how I acquired all of this stuff. Just know that I'm always looking for a good deal, and I do not overspend on these items. There's plenty of these floating around. I just wait for a reasonable deal and I pounce on it, as any sensible collector should. Next up, with Eaten Back to Life, I have the Back on Black pressing. I'm going to say right here that I own every Back on Black pressing for the Cannibal Corpse records that has been pressed, because they were the most readily available when I started collecting. However, they are far inferior to most of the pressings out there. They look nice. They didn't butcher the artwork or anything. It still has the original logo on there. They all come on colored vinyl, which is nice. This one on red vinyl. but as far as the quality of these records, nothing to write home about. The audio source which they used for these, clearly not the original master tapes. So you're not getting really, your bang for your buck when it comes to these. But these are the most readily available copies, so I wouldn't blame you for going out and buying one. It's nice to have. So I'm not gonna, bust anyone's balls over that. Especially, since I own them, I can't talk shit. And then a little while ago, maybe 2016, I want to say, Metal Blade did these Metal Blade Classic series for a few of the early albums. Nothing really special here. These are the copies that I actually spin the most, because Metal Blade did reissue these. So I know that they're using a trusted source for the audio, and they sound great. They also have the awesome inner center labels with the old Metal Blade Records logo, which I fucking love. So these were a must-have for me when Metal Blade started reissuing these. Also, some of this stuff, they come with like posters and lyric inserts and all that stuff. Like this one comes with a poster. I'm not going to pull all of that stuff out. First of all, it's pretty, standard for a lot of vinyl reissues these days to come with posters and things like that. Also, I don't want this video to run on the lengthy side. I want to just show important pieces of my collection, and I can't do that if I'm showcasing every little item that comes with every single thing on here. Here I have the Eaten Back to Life picture disc. This is the only one that I have framed. Initially, when I started collecting the Cannibal Corpse picture discs, I wanted to frame each one and hang them up. I quickly realized that that was too large of a task. These frames aren't, they aren't expensive, but when you're buying, 13, 14, 15 of them, it adds up. And so this is the only one that I have framed. All these picture discs, or I believe most of them, were the 25th anniversary reissues. These I don't spin ever. These are strictly collector's items for me. Eaten Back to Life, one of my favorite Cannibal Corpse albums, so I'm happy to display it. And some of the coolest artwork too. So, and then one final Eaten Back to Life relic. This is a reissue CD. I don't know from which year, but it's one of those enhanced CDs that has a bonus live video on it. And as you can see, it's signed, but it's not signed by the original members. It's I took this CD to a meet and greet with Cannibal Corpse when I saw them with, I think it was with Behemoth back in like 2015. I bought like the meet and greet pass just because I'm a dork. And I had it signed by all the current members at that time: George Corpse Grinder Fisher, Pat O'Brien, Alex Webster, Paul Mazurkiewicz, and God, why can't? Oh man, there's so much information up here that sometimes I can't get it all out. But I'm hating myself right now because Rob Barrett. Okay, I was gonna really hate myself if I couldn't think of that. And yeah, when I posted this on my Instagram after I got home from the show, someone was giving me shit for getting this particular album signed by the current members. They were saying, why would you have members sign an album that they didn't play on? Obviously, Alex Webster and Paul Mazurkiewicz are the only ones who played on this album. But to me, I don't really care. This is, I just grabbed a random CD from my collection to have them sign. I think it's cool. They still play these songs as a band live now, so it doesn't really make any difference to me. Apparently some people got their panties in a twist over why I would get this album signed by current members, but I really don't give a shit. And now we move on to Butchered at Birth. This here is an original pressing from Metal Blade Records, 1991. It comes with the inner sleeve here, which has the uncensored artwork on it. And I was really happy to find a copy that had this insert in it still, because that artwork is just incredible. As you can see here, this is the obviously censored cover with the parental advisories on it. Cannibal Corpse, no strangers to controversy. I'm not going to get into the history of that or the history of Cannibal Corpse. I'm here to strictly talk about the records in my collection. There you have the center label is exactly the same as the Eaten Back to Life one that I showed. Don't really have much to say about these albums. You all know them. You should all know them. And if you're watching these videos, there's a good chance that you know them and love them. You know, all these albums, Eaten Back to Life, Butchered at Birth, fantastic albums. I don't need to talk about them. I'm just here to talk about these records. Once again, the Back on Black pressing, and you can tell right away with the new logo on the old album. You know, there's a lot of bootlegs out there for Cannibal Corpse. They're just one of those bands that can't escape it, but they've made enough money in their day, and you know, just to have these records in circulation. Back on Black is not a bootleg, for the record. These are officially licensed by Metal Blade. Clear vinyl. And then again, there's these Metal Blade Classics reissues, all of which I kept in the shrink wrap. I'm not going to pull them all out because they're all on black vinyl, but there you can see the center label with the old Metal Blade logo record, old Metal Blade Records logo on it. And then the picture disc version. Again, I don't spin the picture discs. They're pretty much for collectors' purposes only. The 25th anniversary edition. Most of those came in plastic sleeves that had the 25th anniversary sticker on it. This one did not, so it doesn't really matter to me. I also don't like it when picture discs don't come with outer sleeves and they come with those flimsy plastic sleeves. Really turns me off. And picture discs, you know, they're made from a different plastic, so they sound inferior anyways. And then here's my CD copy. This is a reissue from 1994, so it still has the original logo on it, but it is not a first pressing. There you go. There's still a whole bunch of the early stuff that I need to get. It's on my want list on Discogs. I'm always, you know, checking out eBay and Discogs and Amazon. Just, you know, I'm not going to pull the trigger on something that's stupidly priced. It's just not going to happen. But there, you know, there are things out there that I do still need to add to my collection. My collection is far from complete. Hopefully, you know, years from now it will be, but until then, we'll see. Alright, now we get to Tomb of the Mutilated. Here we have another original pressing with the censored cover. US Metal Blade Records pressing. Again, comes with the inner sleeve with the original artwork. Some of these original copies, it's hard to find a copy that still has, you know, all the original inserts and things like that. For me, I'm glad to have a near complete copy, but if I can only get, you know, a copy of the jacket and the record itself, so be it. Again, identical center label, to Butchered at Birth and Eaten Back to Life. Bear with me as I'm putting these all back in the sleeves. I take very good care of these records because they're important to me. Back on black pressing. Again, these look nice with the gatefold and colored vinyl and all that, but I really don't spin them too often anymore. Nice purple vinyl here. When I initially got them, sure, I listened to them, but now that I have better sounding copies, these once again relegated to collector's copies. Here's the Metal Blade Classics reissue from a couple years ago. Again, black vinyl. The old Metal Blade logo on the center label. Picture disc. This is what I was talking about, the sticker right up here. It says Cannibal Corpse 1988-2013. It's the 25th anniversary. They pressed up all the Cannibal Corpse albums on picture disc. On the B side it has the censored artwork. And I don't have an original CD version for Tomb of the Mutilated. This is another reissue on an enhanced CD. Don't know from what year, don't really care. It's just a reissue CD. But I do have an original cassette copy from 1992 from Metal Blade Records. Show you the J card for this. Censored artwork. As far as I know, all the cassette releases, all the legit cassette releases had the censored artwork. As you can see, it has the official merchandise tear outs where you could circle what you wanted, pop this in the mail with some money, and they would send you some merch. That's how you had to do it back in the day. Alrighty. Then we have the Hammer Smash Face EP. This is a reissue, obviously, new logo. 3 songs. This got released in 1993 after Tomb of the Mutilated had been released in 1992. Has the single Hammer Smash Face as well as covers of The Exorcist by Possessed and Zero the Hero by Black Sabbath. And the only vinyl copy I have of this, the original copies again go for pretty crazy money. And even rarer is the 7-inch copy of Hammer Smash Face. This here is a reissue just put out by a Chinese label, Nessie Media, Northeast Steel Industries. It's got the kind of OBI strip that most of the Japanese pressings have. And this on the B-side has 2 extra tracks, Meat Hook Sodomy from Butchered at Birth and Shredded Humans from Eaten Back to Life. And it came on a nice black with red splatter vinyl. Again, that awesome Metal Blade logo on the center label. These turned out really, really nice. They sound great. They're not bootlegs, officially licensed from Metal Blade. And they turned out really great. And then the final album in the Chris Barnes era, we come to my personal favorite Cannibal Corpse album, The Bleeding. And this is one of my most prized possessions. This is an original pressing of The Bleeding from 1994. There you go. There's the center label. Again, looks just like the ones prior. I don't have the insert for this one, but this one was the toughest one to find, and it was an absolute necessity for me because it was my favorite Cannibal Corpse album. I had to have an original copy of this, and I was lucky enough to find a vinyl copy, an original of. I have an original CD copy from 1994. And I have an original cassette copy from 1994. There's the full uncensored artwork. Not really sure why they censored this one. I mean, but again, Cannibal Corpse at that time period were under heavy scrutiny. But I find the Bleeding's artwork to be on the tamer side as far as their early album covers go. Here we have the Back on Black pressing. Nice gatefold. This one I listened to a lot back in the day before I got better copies. Red vinyl. I'm also not sure what year all these Back on Black pressings are from, but that's not of any great importance, really. These are really cool. This is a Metal Blade reissue from a couple years ago. This is distributed by Napalm Records in Europe. So these were European exclusive. This is called Crusted Blood Marbled Vinyl, limited to 200. My copy is 119. And this came on a nice red and black marbled vinyl. Awesome center label. I have by far the most copies of The Bleeding when it comes to Cannibal Corpse's albums, because it's my favorite of theirs. Here's the Metal Blade Classics reissue from a few years ago. All these came on black vinyl with the Metal Blade logo there on the center label. And then another reissue. This one on clear, bloody skin colored vinyl. Limited to 300 copies, number 140. And it looks like just kind of a pink vinyl, but you can tell there's supposed to be kind of a little bit of red marbling going on in there. Didn't come up that great, but still, it's another copy of The Bleeding, which for me, every pressing that I don't own of The Bleeding, I'll probably buy. It's just one of those albums. I don't normally collect every variant, but when it comes to The Bleeding, I do. Here's the 25th anniversary picture disc edition. And reissue CD that has The Exorcist as a bonus song on here. And it's an enhanced CD with the bonus video. Digipack version. And then to top it all off, I have a few Barnes era bootlegs here. I'm not going to get into the topic of bootlegs because I can make a whole other video on that. But again, when it comes to Cannibal Corpse, I pretty much buy everything that I don't have. This is called Butchering Chicago 1992. All Barnes era material recorded live. Limited to 250 cryptic copies. The songs on here are all early songs. Gutted, Meat Hook Sodomy, Vomit the Soul, Cryptic Stench, Skull Full of Maggots. Comes on a red with splatter vinyl. They're, I believe all of these are soundboard quality recordings, so they're pretty good as far as live sets recorded in the early 90s. And the track list, the material on these is just second to none. Here we have Dismembering Dallas, 1993. This is a double LP, limited to 250 bloody cum covered copies. The set list for this is absolutely insane. I'm not going to go over every song here, but just take a look. You got the Tomb of the Mutilated-esque artwork on here. And show you the vinyl here. It's nice and pretty. Blue with red merge. Got that old school original Cannibal Corpse logo on here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I love that old logo so much. It's my favorite death metal logo ever. This is, what is this? Force-fed live bleeding. This one's in rough shape, but you get the idea. 1994, Tennessee. Classic shit. Double LP. Red vinyl. I have no problem with bootlegs for live recordings, especially from, sets from 1994. I was 5 years old when this show happened, so if I get to experience it through a bootleg vinyl, so be it. And the last one I have, the cover art for this one is fucking fantastic. This is the unreleased 1994 Deathboard recording. It's essentially a live soundboard recording. Double LP. I love the way these center labels look. Red logo on the white label on clear vinyl. Classic, classic, classic material from Cannibal Corpse. Some of my favorite stuff. I love the Chris Barnes era. Most of my favorite Cannibal Corpse albums are from that era. And that's it. That's all I have to show as far as the Chris Barnes material goes. I hope this video didn't run on too long. I hope this was a great introduction to my collection. There will be at least 2 more videos. The next video will be covering the George Corpse Grinder Fisher era of Cannibal Corpse. I figured that was a nice divide to cut up these videos into, because I had a ton of the Barnes era material. And there's more Corpse Grinder albums, but I have less pressings of them, so hopefully these 2 videos will be about equal in length. And then the last one, I'm not sure if I'm going to divide into 2 videos, but we'll see. So there's more to come. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm excited to be tackling this video idea. It's real fun for me to sit up here and talk about my favorite death metal band, my favorite metal band, period, ever, of all time. So that's it for now. Stick around for the next videos. As always, thanks for tuning in, watching, liking, commenting, continuing to subscribe, all that cool stuff. And until the next time, take care.